Growing up, I never understood the draw to sheep hunting. I'd hear guys talk about sheep hunts. It just never seemed that appealing to me. Why would you want to spend so much money to go and be completely miserable, cold, wet, hungry, hunt the nastiest terrain in the world, very little to no human comforts? And then one day I decided that I needed to try it, to see if it really was what everyone made it out to be. Needless to say, my first sheep hunt changed my life. Most days it's all I think about now. What do I have to do to get back into sheep country, and how soon can I do it?
Sunglasses. Alarms are never meant to be going off at 1:15 or 1:30 in the morning, by the way.
Go off at 1.
You went off at 1?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I showered.
That was 1:40. I still showered.
Well, I've wanted to hunt desert sheep my whole life, and so, that's not true. I haven't wanted to hunt them my whole life. I used to think that guys that wanted to hunt sheep were like out of their minds because elk and deer have huge horns and antlers and everything else, and I'm like, why sheep? And several years ago I went on my first sheep hunt to the Northwest Territories with the goal of like getting sheep out of my system, and it was like the most amazing 10 or 12 days of my life. And so I came home from that hunt, I killed a nice ram, a 13-year-old doll sheep, and told my wife that like I was gonna have to do it about every year. And so it's turned into this nasty and terrible but life-changing addiction. So I've hunted sheep a couple times in the north. I've always wanted to hunt a desert sheep. So 4 years ago, I actually booked a hunt with La Palmosa. It's ridiculous. You have to book things out that far in advance, but that's what it was. And so I booked it, 4 years back. So I've been pumped to go do this for a long time. How's it going?
What's up?
I'm Marcus.
This is Garrett. Hey Jeff, how's it going? Here we go.
Right, and it begins.
There's probably not a lot of shuttles this time of day.
Exactly. There we go, one more.
Which one are we? B12? B13?
Que tiene todos los artículos personales como tarjeta de computadora.
I didn't know what to expect as far as terrain went so much. I mean, I knew they had mountains, but I didn't know how big the mountains were. And pulling into La Palmosa, it was an eye-opener. Like, holy crap, like these are big mountains and they're steep. It's not like Texas.
Home.
You're home.
Home for a week, huh?
Look at that. You land in the airport, you get put in a car, and it's like a 3.5 hour drive. And you go away from the city, out into the desert. The desert gets meaner and nastier and beautiful but ugly at the same time. And you go through these rolling hills, this nasty dirt road. We're going like flipping 10 miles an hour, and I feel like we're never going to get there. And I don't know where he's even taking us. And all of a sudden you come around this corner and get up on this plateau, and there's like this most beautiful oasis of buildings that you've ever seen in the middle of nowhere. So excited to be here.
I'm not used to feeling this short.
This is my father, Jeff.
I mean,
Nice to meet you. Thank you. What a beautiful place.
I feel small compared to you guys.
It's okay. That's all right. Oh, man. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's center and it's maybe a hair high, but yeah.
Good. You guys want to shower up? You want to eat?
No, I'm good. I showered this morning at 1 a.m.
Yeah, we've been up since like 1 o'clock in the morning our time.
But
We're here. We're here and happy. So. What they have at La Palmosa in the middle of nowhere is as nice as you'll find anywhere. Great big lodge, beautiful finishes and paintings and crazy, I mean, wood pillars and tile mosaics, and they can take you down in the wine cellar, and it's this like unbelievable, it almost looks like a museum. And then you go back out and look outside, and again, you're in the middle of nowhere. So kind of interesting, but a beautiful place, and something I'll always remember. Oh, there's my... we're here. It's our first morning of hunting. Not sure what to expect. It just doesn't feel real that we're actually here hunting desert sheep. It's been a dream to kill a Grand Slam, and the desert's been an iconic animal for me since I was little, and so it still doesn't quite feel real, and hasn't really set in that we're going to be hunting one starting this morning, but I'm hoping we get after it today and put some miles on the ground and see what we can turn up, and just blessed and excited to be here. And La Palmosa is known for their big sheep, so we'll see what we can turn up. It's calm, not a ton of wind. Does the wind usually pick up midday or something? Oh boy, I'm getting a little nervous.
like, oh my. I'm nervous.
So see where the ridge closest to us? So see the farm is out there where it meets? Yeah, where it meets this ridge and makes a point. Just come down and left, and they're all through there. There's sheep all across that state. Young ram with a ton of potential. Building some mass. There's sheep, they just button heads. Here and it's so cool.
So we've been hiking now for like 5-6 hours. And again, it's big, steep, and nasty. And everywhere you go, you're getting jabbed and poked. We left Dad down the mountain, you know, several hours ago because we didn't want to have a heart attack and die on us. He was struggling. And so, yeah, at this point, you know, we started the day off well. We saw a bunch of sheep. We saw a couple of younger, you know, one nice ram in that group. Nothing you come to La Palmosa for. But we've been busting it for the last 5 or 6 hours. And every time, it's just typical hunting. You get to the top of the ridge and you think you're at the top and you look up and there's like 6 more ridges above you. But we were okay. We were like, hey, we've seen sheep. We're going to see sheep. Let's stay after it.
I haven't seen any sheep since we started hiking, but this is big, nasty country, and just looking for one. It's beautiful. It's been a great morning. Very little wind, really quiet. I've got a couple cactuses in my shins already that, like, I swear they inject poison into you and it just starts to throb. It's crazy. But we gotta turn up a big ram. There's a lot of country up here. This is big canyons, steep, nasty crap. So let's see what we can turn up.
Kept going and kept going up and up and up, and the further we went, the nastier it got, and we saw 0 sheep. We left that morning, saw that big group, and from the time we left that big group to the top of that flipping mountain, I don't think we got to the top till, you know, 7 or 8 hours, maybe 9 hours from the time that we started. We did not see a single sheep, not a lamb, not a ewe, not a ram. And so you start to wonder what the heck you're doing, but we knew sheep had to be there. It was big, nasty country. It's you know, there was hiding spots. They could be anywhere and you wouldn't see them. Yeah, didn't see a single ram. So it's a little deflating when you just bust it physically, and Marcus was tired and my dad was smoked at the bottom of the mountain, and we didn't see any sheep. You start to wonder a little bit, but we knew they had to be around there somewhere. So they tell us we're going to go to the mine, or well, they ask us if we want to go to a mine, and we're like, yeah, sure, we want to go to a mine. And so we get in the Jeep again, we drive around, we check out this country, we drive for quite a while, end up at the base of this mountain, and we get closer, and there's like a legit mine shaft that goes into the mountain. And so they start handing us tools, and like, okay, have at it. And so my dad, my brother, and I are looking at each other like, well, what the crap are we doing? Look at this flag. What is it that we're really looking for again? What's it called?
Amethyst.
Amethyst, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Juan's good at finding.
Big hiding up here.
See, yeah.
Look at that.
Yes, dude, that's
So
dark.
pretty.
So you want to get the darker, the better.
Look how
that's
pretty
that's
that
a
is.
good one, dude.
Yeah.
Look
Hold
how-
on to that one. That's a great one.
Look how pretty that is.
Like, just look at it.
Look at this one, Dad. Look.
You found another one.
Let's get this out. That was just a unique deal, something that I haven't ever been able to do anywhere else, and it was really fun to be able to do that with my dad and brother on the trip. That was a cool thing. You know, Wednesday morning we decided to go, there's this great big Razorback ridge that goes kind of parallel to the larger mountain range. Still steep and nasty and big, but not near the level of what our prior day hunt was.
1 second. Okay. It's day 2 at La Palmosa. We killed ourselves yesterday hiking from the bottom to the top and didn't see much. So we're at a lower elevation today. We're gonna hike up this big ridge. They had some scouts out yesterday that said they saw a really nice ram with a U. So that's what we're gonna go try and find. So we don't have to gain anywhere near as much elevation as we did yesterday. We were over 4,000 feet yesterday, and today it looks like we only have to gain, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2,000, but get up there and see what we can find and enjoy it. 5 more days to hunt, so we'll see what happens.
It probably took us an hour, hour and a half to get to the top. Got up on the top and it was pretty cool. You get up on the top and it was this real steep peak, and just off both sides were just huge drainages, full of sagebrush and big nasty cactus and everything else that was in them. And we just moved slowly. We just moved slowly down the ridge, and we'd stop and glass and stop and glass. And again, our guides would sit down and they'd look off the edges and look down each of the draws. And at one point they glassed these sheep up that were like flipping, it looked like miles away. They were clear across this plateau up on this big flat. And we got excited. We got the spotting scope out, 4 or 5 rams sitting there, some ewes, but we could tell from where we were that nothing was just like, oh, that's a definite shooter, which is a letdown because you get excited every time you see some sheep. You know, at this point, we've now hiked for about 12 hours and hadn't seen a sheep. So that was exciting to be able to see a group of some rams. No shooters in it, so we just kept going. And again, my poor dad was smoked. He was tired, but we just moved slowly, you know, down the ridge. Same schedule, same plan. Go a couple hundred yards, sit in glass. Go a couple hundred yards more, sit in glass. And we got to this huge draw. I think that's where they were hoping. It's where they'd seen that big ram the prior day with some of the scouts. We actually saw a nice ram come from somewhere along the base out into the bottom of the big draw that we were sitting in. And we got really excited, got the spotting scope on him. You know, I actually started thinking in my mind, that's a ram that we want to shoot. Our guides came and looked at it and they said, yeah, he's a really good ram. So we're getting excited. We're trying to decide if that's a ram we want to make a play on at this point in the hunt. You know, we're sitting there watching and these ewes come out, and then following these ewes, a new ram, a second ram steps out. He was night and day difference, night and day bigger than that first ram that we'd been excited about. This second ram had mass, had huge bases, had the great big chunk missing out of one side. It only took about 5 seconds of looking at it through the spotting scope, and I told my guide, game on, let's go. We decided this is the ram we want to kill. I'm excited about it. The problem is he was 1,400 yards from us at this point in time. We're at the top of the mountain, he's at the very bottom. And you know, our guides were a little antsy because they were concerned that he and the other sheep would get up around the corner, up into the next draw, and they'd be able to disappear up in there because everything's so thick that it's just hard to see anything in there. And so we came up with a game plan. You know, we decided that we had to bail off the ridge that we were on. We wanted to keep a ridge in between us and the ram so that we were on the back side because the wind wasn't great. But we needed to go straight off the cliff we were on, straight down, stay on the opposite side of the ridge that the sheep was on, get down there, you know, quickly. We didn't have a ton of time because they were starting to move out and away from us. And one thing that was really important to me was there's not very many hunts that my dad's been able to be on with me as far as some of my adventures I've gone on. And I wanted him to be there when this one happened. And so Marcus and our guides and Garrett got down ahead of us and started picking through these cliffs and through the cactus. And I kind of stayed back with my dad because I wasn't going to leave him. I was going to make sure he was there.
You're killing it. You're doing great. 6-year-old man over there. It's hell for him.
Fortunately, we got to the spot where we wanted to potentially shoot from. And the goal was, we got up on this little ridge. We had a great big rock off to our side, so it kind of broke us up from the skyline. But this big valley that we'd been looking down from the top, the opposite side of it was about 350, 400 yards from us. So what we were hoping was that those rams would just go up that far side, piece of cake, 400 yards, you know, game over. But of course, it never happens that way. In fact, it turned into a complete cluster real quick. We looked down and there's another ram that we hadn't seen somewhere below us that blows out. So I'd made enough noise moving, trying to get set up, or the wind had shifted just well enough that he smelled us. And so he went straight down the hill away from us, across the bottom of this valley, up the other side and around the corner. And so I got nervous and my guides got nervous and they start talking in Spanish. And fortunately I speak Spanish as well. And so I could hear him say, you know, we've got to hurry because these rams are going to leave. Well, the big ram and the other ram with him saw this younger ram flying across the mountain, and they did. They picked up and they turned to follow him. And so, you know, Garrett, one of my guides there, he's saying, hey, you got to hurry up and shoot him or he was going to be gone. You'll never see him again. So I'm in my gun, I'm looking at him, I'm ready to squeeze the trigger, the ram runs out and stops. I'm dialed to about 640 yards. I knew they'd gone a little further, so I was holding just a little bit high. As I go to squeeze the trigger, that younger ram or smaller ram runs right behind and stops. And so they're standing back to back. I can't shoot. The big ram kind of turns and looks at us for just a second, and then he takes off running again away. And so he only goes another 40 or 50 yards, and he stops again to look back, but he's only about 100 yards from where he's gone, and we can't see him anymore. And so I'm on him, you know, a lot further than I wanted to shoot at this point. My guys are yelling, shoot, 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 because he's leaving. And I squirrels one off and just smoked him.
I thought you were screwed.
Muchas gracias. That took some, that was, I'm like, oh freak, he's leaving.
I know.
Yeah,
He's outta here.
can't say you didn't earn that one.
No,
You did it perfect.
That's good. That was awesome. Good job.
that was crazy. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you, buddy.
That's awesome.
La Palmosa, Mexico and La Palmosa was an amazing experience. The more I hunt, the more I realize that it's all about the memory, it's all about the adventure. You know, the trophy's a big part of it, but it's not the most important part. And to be able to hunt a beautiful place, a nasty place, but a beautiful place, see awesome wildlife, take a dream desert sheep. I was fortunate. I didn't kill a small sheep, like we killed a big ram, and something I'd always hoped for. To be able to have my dad and my brother there side by side, to be able to experience that, you know, a high pressure, 675 yard shot, laying in a cactus, uncomfortable, to have all that practice that you've put in, all the time you've put in, pay off and make that shot, to be able to hold those horns and to be able to see how massive they really are. You know, I have a lot of respect for sheep, for where they live and for what they go through. They're a cool animal. But all in all, it was just an unbelievable trip, and something that I'll always remember. Unique to me in the fact that, again, dad and brother were there, and got to experience that with them in a beautiful, beautiful place.